Buckle up, because today we're diving into something really huge happening right now. British TV, it's basically taking over the world.
Yeah.
And we're not just talking like old classics here.
Right.
This is like a full-on invasion of new shows hitting screens everywhere from, you know, London to LA.
It's wild.
And the numbers are crazy.
Yeah.
Like, did you know that here in the US, the demand for British shows, it's actually bigger than any other foreign content right now?
Bigger, which is saying something.
Yeah. So today, let's dig into why this is happening.
Well, what I find fascinating is it's not just like one or two breakout hits, right?
Right.
This is like a massive shift in how we're all watching TV and honestly, what even counts as like foreign entertainment anymore.
Mhm.
But those lines are getting really blurry.
Yeah, for sure. It's a global thing now. But to really get into it, we got to start with the obvious, streaming.
Yeah.
Because it's not just changing what we watch. It's like changing the whole game for how TV even works, both here and in the UK.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
In the UK, traditional TV viewing has been, on a decline for a while.
Makes sense.
Since 2014, Theal's getting those 4 million viewers, like
Yeah.
the big ones. It's been cut in half. But here's the thing.
What's that?
It doesn't mean Brits aren't watching UK shows.
Oh, interesting. So they're finding them other places.
They're going straight to the source, those local streaming platforms like BBC iPlayer, ITVX,
Right.
the ones made just for UK viewers.
Oh, smart.
And actually, get this, 18% of all BBC viewing recently, it was all on iPlayer.
Wow, that's huge.
Huge. So yeah, a big chunk of their audience is now online.
It makes sense, right? It's like choosing exactly what you want to watch instead of just, channel surfing. But what about the big global streamers? Like, how do those fit in?
Okay, now that's where things get really interesting. So Netflix, Amazon, all the big ones,
Right.
hugely popular in the UK, obviously. But their subscription numbers,
They're not doing so hot.
they're plateauing. Some are even dropping a little from their peak.
Really?
Yeah. And at the same time, those free ad-supported ones, they're gaining traction.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it really makes you think,
Like, are we hitting some kind of subscription limit?
it's possible. People might be getting overwhelmed having to pay for every single service under the sun.
Yeah, you could be right. People's viewing habits are definitely changing.
They are. But through it all, there's one thing that stayed constant. British shows, they're just really good.
Yeah.
And they've got that global appeal.
Yeah.
And nowhere is that clearer than with their dramas. Like, they're killing it right now.
Totally. British dramas always top those international sales charts.
Always.
And what's amazing is this isn't new. This goes way back.
Oh, for sure.
It's like rooted in TV history.
Totally. From those old classics to the new stuff, British dramas just hook people in all over.
Yeah.
Like Bodyguard, remember that one?
Oh.
International hit. Even got a Golden Globe nom.
It was so good.
Right.
And Peaky Blinders, come on.
Oh, tell me about it.
Those hats were everywhere.
Everywhere.
We-
But it's not just about the older shows. There's a ton of new stuff coming out of the UK that's like blowing up all over the world. The Tourist, Vigil, Litvinenko, this England.
So good.
And because of those hits, those shows and others, UK program sales are over £1 billion now.
$1 billion with a B. That's a whole lot of TV.
It is?
But what is it about these shows? Like, what makes them work in so many different cultures?
Well, obviously, like high production quality gripping storylines, that's all key.
Of course, yeah.
But British TV, it's got something else too.
What's that?
It's a kind of magic mix of like amazing stories, incredible acting, and this like je ne sais quoi.
Right. Like, it's hard to describe, but it's there.
Exactly. And those British actors, come on.
The best.
They just disappear into those roles.
So good.
It's incredible. That authenticity and depth, man, it sucks you right in.
It's true. Oh, and those locations.
Don't even get me started.
Those castles, the villages.
It's like you're right there.
Yeah, it's like a mini vacation built right into the drama.
It is.
But we got to talk about something. There's this like connection we can't ignore here. Because over half of UK program sales going to those giant streaming platforms.
Right?
So they know British TV has that global appeal and they're using it.
They know what people want.
They do. It's smart.
It's a win-win. You
Yeah.
know, those platforms, they need the good stuff, the shows that keep people subscribed. And British TV.
It delivers.
It delivers. It's become like the gold standard. And speaking of gold standards,
Go on.
there's one big player in all of this, one institution that kind of stands above the rest when it comes to global reach.
You got to be talking about the BBC.
BBC, baby.
They're not just like a British thing anymore. They're a force on the world stage.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got the highest viewership in the UK, which is nuts, like 17.2%. That's huge.
Right. It is.
But it goes way beyond the UK. Way
Oh,
beyond.
for sure.
Think about it. Planet Earth, Frozen Planet, those nature shows, global phenomena.
So
Be
good.
Doctor Who, Sherlock, Top Gear.
Everyone knows those shows.
Everyone, they cross all those cultural lines.
It's true. It's like they're part of this global, like, shared language now, the BBC shows.
And they seem to know what they've got, you know.
What do you mean?
They're making moves to, like, really tap into that international audience.
Oh, interesting. How so?
Get this. Right now, they're actually talking with Lionsgate, the big U.S. studio,
Whoa.
to develop shows specifically for American viewers.
Okay.
Yeah, they're going, like, hyper global.
That's a bold move. So
So-
it sounds like they really believe in their content.
They do, and they think they can make it work anywhere.
Which, let's be honest, they probably can. It's really something, you know? Like, the BBC is almost like a cultural ambassador for the UK now.
Really?
But what always gets me beyond all the business stuff is, like, the heart of these shows.
Yeah.
There's this, like, DNA to British TV, this focus on character that's different, you know?
Oh, totally. That's a great point.
Like, American TV, it's all about those crazy plots, the action, action, action. But British shows, they go somewhere else.
It's more about the journey.
Yeah. It's about what's going on inside those characters' heads.
Exactly. Exactly.
They're not afraid to get, like, really real, you know?
Yeah.
Like, the messy stuff, human nature. And their characters, they're not perfect. No way.
They're flawed, they're relatable, but man, are they compelling.
They're so good. It's like they're showing us, like, ourselves, you know?
Sure,
like,
totally.
like the good, the bad, everything.
That's what makes it resonate, right? People
Yeah.
connect to those struggles, those little victories, even the flaws. We see ourselves in that.
Oh, for sure. Think about, like, a show like Luther. He's, like, the good guy, but he does some icky things.
Oh, yeah, he lives in that gray area.
Yeah. And we're drawn to that, right? Like, it makes you think about what's right and wrong.
It's challenging.
Yeah.
And I think that's something British TV does so well.
It does. And it's not just the characters, it's also how they tell the stories. Those shorter seasons, that's kind of their thing, right?
Oh, yeah. And American TV is all about the long haul, 20, 22 episodes, sometimes more. British shows, they keep it tight.
Yeah, like 6 to 10 episodes usually, right?
Exactly. And it's not just about, like, keeping things moving, although that helps.
Yeah.
It's about making every single scene count.
You're right. No filler episodes, no random side stories that go nowhere. Just boom, story.
It's like this laser focus, and it creates this intensity, you know?
Oh, yeah. You don't get that with those longer seasons.
Not really. And you know what? Other shows are catching on.
Really?
Yeah, like that show, The Umbrella Academy. They went with a shorter season.
How'd it do?
Killed it. Proved you don't need to drag things out to tell a good story.
Less is more, right?
Right. And for viewers, it's a nice change of pace.
It is. It is. There's so much to watch, so many shows. It's nice to be able to, like, actually finish something without clearing your schedule for a week.
Right. Exactly. And for people making the shows, shorter seasons, it gives them more control.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and they can get bigger actors, you know.
Because they're not stuck filming forever.
Exactly. Actors like that, it lets them take on more interesting roles when they know it's not going to be a huge time commitment.
So everyone wins. It's
Yeah.
like a better way to make TV.
I think so, yeah. Although, you know, there's always going to be those people,
The haters.
the haters, who say, oh, shorter seasons, you can't really get to know the characters, or there are not enough storylines.
Right.
But British TV, they do it right, you know.
Oh, yeah. They've got it down to a science, how to tell a whole story, get you invested in the characters, all in a short amount of time.
Well said, well said. And speaking of great storytelling, we got to talk about some of these shows that everyone's obsessed with.
Oh, yeah, the icons. These are the shows that, like, scream British TV. They've got the creativity, the humor, the drama. It's all there.
The whole package.
Let's start with the OG Doctor Who. Come on.
The legend.
That show is, like, pure imagination. It changes all the time, but it's always about hope, adventure, good guys versus bad guys. It's classic.
It's the longest running sci-fi show ever. And there's a reason for that.
Exactly. Like, generations have grown up with it. I mean, everyone knows Doctor Who.
It's true.
And then there's Sherlock. That's like a masterclass in taking something old like Sherlock Holmes and making it feel new again.
And Benedict Cumberbatch, come on. He was born to play that role.
He was so good. Like, he made it his own, but he still kept that Sherlock vibe, you know?
Totally. And the writing. So sharp. So clever.
So good.
All those twists and turns. It was like a puzzle you couldn't put down.
The best kind of show. It proves British TV, they can take anything and make it amazing.
They really can. Oh, and we can't forget about The Crown.
Oh, man. The royals.
Right. It's like peeking behind the curtain of, like, this institution.
It's history, it's drama, it's like Britishness all rolled into one show.
It's true, and it's working. The Crown, that show, it's got people around the world hooked. There's just something about the royals, you know?
Oh, yeah, it's like history, but it's happening now, and they're real people.
Right. It's wild. And, thinking about those shows, we were talking about Doctor Who, Sherlock, The Crown.
Yeah.
They're not just shows anymore, They're like cultural exports, and they're changing how people see Britain.
That's a really good point, actually. Like, they're bringing in tourists, changing what people wear, even just starting conversations about, like, all kinds of stuff. History, science, you name it. Makes you wonder, where does British TV go next? Like, can they keep this up?
It's a good question, right? Like we were saying before, streaming. It's changed the game. It's not really about countries anymore. It's about what's on your screen.
So how do British shows, with their, like, style, how do they fit in?
Exactly. That's the big question.
Right.
Do they, like, double down on what they're good at, keep telling those character-driven stories, the shorter seasons?
Yeah.
Or do they gotta, like, change it up, get into those faster-paced American-style plots, all that?
It's a tough one. Like, they got to keep people around the world interested, but they don't want to lose what makes them special.
Exactly. It's a balance for sure.
It is.
But one thing's for sure. TV, it's a global thing now. And British creators, they're going to be a huge part of wherever it goes next.
They've got the talent, that's for sure. And for us watching, it's a good time to be alive,
Oh, yeah.
So much to watch. But my advice, don't sleep on those British shows.
Never.
They might just surprise you.
And you never know. You might find yourself, like, craving a cup of tea and some biscuits while you're watching.
Cheers to that. Well, this has been awesome. A real deep dive into the world of British TV, what it's doing on the global stage, what the future might hold. Until next time, everyone, happy watching.